The whole thing started as just a fun moment on a big screen during a Coldplay concert. Nothing more than a kiss capturing the crowd, hoping for a few laughs or maybe even a sweet kiss between couples. But for two executives at a tech company called Astronomer, that brief moment under the stadium lights turned into a public spectacle they never saw coming. Andy Byron, the CEO of Astronomer, and Kristen Cabot, the chief people officer, were caught on camera during the Kiss Cam segment at Gillette Stadium in Massachusetts. Instead of a quick peck or a light-hearted reaction, what the crowd and later the entire internet saw was a deeply awkward moment. Byron seemed to duck away, while Cabot turned her head. Within hours, the clip was everywhere, spreading across social media like wildfire. What made it worse was that neither of them were just anonymous faces in the crowd. Once people figured out who they were, and more importantly, that both were married to other people, this speculation exploded. Was it an affair? Was it a misunderstanding? Was it just two colleagues caught in a weird situation? The internet doesn't like loose ends, and soon theories flooded every platform. But it wasn't just gossip anymore, it became a corporate problem. Astronomer's board of directors couldn't ignore the attention or the implications. Just days after the clip went viral, both Byron and Cabot were placed on administrative leave as the company launched an internal investigation to figure out what, if anything, had gone wrong behind the scenes. By July 19th, barely 3 days after the video hit the internet, Andy Byron had officially resigned as CEO. It was a stunningly fast fall from grace. The company's co-founder, Pete DeJoy, who had been serving as chief product officer, stepped into the CEO role on an interim basis. DeJoy released a statement that was both carefully worded and subtly revealing. He acknowledged that the entire situation had been surreal, a word that honestly felt like the only accurate way to describe how quickly things had spiraled. He promised that the company was still focused on its mission in the world of data and AI, and that they were moving forward despite the scandal. Ironically, while the scandal damaged reputations and disrupted leadership at the top, it also brought Astronomer more attention than any marketing campaign could have hoped for. The startup, previously known mostly within niche tech circles, became a household name overnight. The company's valuation, pegged at over $1.3 billion, suddenly seemed like a footnote compared to the tidal wave of public interest it had generated. Search engines lit with people looking up Astronomer, not because of its AI tools or data engineering platform, but because of that kiss cam moment. People weren't just interested, they were fascinated. And whether it was for better or worse, the brand was now embedded in pop culture. Social media, as expected, had a field day. Memes flooded the timeline. Parody videos were made. Reactions were dissected frame by frame. And Coldplay fans started treating the moment like a concert Easter egg. Chris Martin even referenced the moment on stage, joking about how people need to be camera ready at all times. Other musicians jumped into. Liam Gallagher, during one of his concerts, told the crowd that at least nobody would be caught on kiss cam at his show. "You're safe here," he quipped. Even brands joined in. Amul, known for its quick and clever ads, released a comic strip-style poster with a tagline that played on the theme, earning thousands of shares in hours. Still, behind all the jokes and memes, there was a very real fallout. Byron's career, at least at Astronomer, was over. Cabot's future with the company remained uncertain as the board continued its review. DeJoy, now steering the ship, had to reassure investors, clients, and employees that this moment, however wild and unexpected, wouldn't derail the company's long-term vision. He spoke about leadership, accountability, and staying true to the company's core principles. While the public watched for the next twist, Astronomer's board quietly began searching for a permanent CEO who could restore a sense of normalcy and steer the company out of the viral firestorm it had suddenly found itself in. What's perhaps most fascinating about this entire saga is how it blurred the lines between private lives and public perception. In most cases, executive scandal might involve leaked emails, financial misconduct, or hostile boardroom takeovers. But in this instance, it was something as mundane and oddly human as a kiss-cam moment that triggered a full-scale media blitz. The public wasn't reacting to some deep corporate fraud. They were captivated by something much more emotional and relatable: the possibility of infidelity, the awkwardness of being caught, and the drama of two high-level professionals potentially risking it all in a very public setting. It was like a soap opera unfolding in real time, except this one involved real careers, real families, and a real company's reputation hanging in the balance. Inside Astronomer, the mood was understandably tense. Employees, many of whom had joined the company because of its cutting-edge work in the data space, suddenly found themselves fielding questions from friends and family not about data or AI, but about gossip and scandal. The internal Slack channels, normally filled with tech updates and product roadmaps, shifted tone as HR issued reminders about professional boundaries, and leadership conducted meetings on how to manage the PR fallout. Some workers expressed frustration, worried that their years of hard work might now be overshadowed by a moment that had nothing to do with them. Others admitted, privately, that the situation had at least drawn attention to a company that often operated quietly behind the scenes. On the business front, however, the aftermath wasn't entirely negative. While the viral moment wasn't something Astronomer would have ever chosen, it did give the brand a sudden surge in visibility. Potential clients who had never heard of the company were now looking them up. Media outlets that typically ignored enterprise data tools were suddenly covering Astronomer in detail. The brand had broken into public consciousness not for its software, but thanks to a 15-second video clip that no one could stop talking about. The irony wasn't lost on industry experts, many of whom noted that this kind of accidental PR boost might actually lead to increased investor interest or strategic partnerships down the line. Meanwhile, Andy Byron's resignation prompted conversations across corporate America about leadership conduct and public accountability. Some commentators viewed the board's swift action as a sign of strong governance, proof that even C-suite executives aren't immune to consequences. Others questioned whether the public outcry was proportionate to the offense, pointing out that kissing someone who isn't your spouse, while certainly a personal betrayal, might not automatically warrant removal from a corporate role. These debates played out across business forums, LinkedIn articles, and even cable news segments, with opinions split between those calling for professionalism at all costs and those arguing for grace and privacy. Kristen Cabot, notably, maintained her silence throughout the ordeal, unlike Byron, who resigned quickly and whose name dominated headlines. Cabot kept a much lower profile. Some observers saw this as a strategic move and effort to let the media frenzy pass before making any public statement. Others speculated that her future with the company was still being evaluated behind closed doors. Either way, her absence from the spotlight only added another layer of mystery to an already convoluted situation. Would she return to her role? Would she resign? Like Byron, would the company quietly transition her out of leadership? No one knew for sure, and Astronomer's leadership wasn't offering any details. As the dust began to settle, Astronomer seemed determined to move forward. Pete DeJoy, now balancing his role as interim CEO with his original product leadership duties, focused on steadying the company and redirecting attention to their actual work. New initiatives were rolled out, investor calls were held, and the company issued formal messaging that emphasized stability, focus, and a renewed commitment to its mission. While the Kiss Cam saga would undoubtedly remain part of Astronomer's story, the hope internally was that it could become a footnote rather than the defining chapter. Whether or not the public would allow that to happen, though, was a question still very much in the air.